Yeah, but what they
So
usually do is they wait for you to at least pay the one that you owe, and then they open you up again.
yeah, you know what they need to do, and these things are not that difficult. What you need to do is to declare a tax amnesty. And you say you can classify companies into the large, medium, and small. The large people, whatever taxes they are owing, they still have to pay. You can agree a payment plan. The guy says, oh, I'm owing 10 billion, I don't have the money, I'll pay over the next 1 year. Agree a payment plan. The medium guys, medium-sized people, you can tell them the taxes you owe in the past 1 or 2 years, you still have to pay. The rest, we're going to forgive you. The small guys, just tell, you know what, just come and register. We forgive you of everything you owe in the past. Why do you do that? Because you want to get their data, you want to get them into the tax net so that over time, they begin to start paying. There was a guy, we're having this conversation around these issues. This guy schooled in the UK and had been working there. He's Nigerian. So his dad has a business in Nigeria, getting old. He managed to encourage this man to say, please come back and manage my business for me. He got in and realized that they never filed any returns or paid any taxes. He called a tax consultant who did a review. And the liability they came up with was more than the net worth of that company. And the guy said, I'd like to do the right thing, but the right thing doesn't make sense. This is like saying, let's hand over our company to government and we become jobless. So you need to, that guy wants to do the right thing because of where he's coming from, because of his exposure, but you need to make it convenient for him to do it. It's not entirely his fault that they haven't paid taxes for so many years and nobody went there to enforce it, right? So there has to be consistent, constant, regular enforcement. So you don't allow this debt to accumulate.
So taxes, sorry to interrupt you, taxes is not about whether companies make profit.
Yes and no. So there are some taxes like companies income tax. It's about when you make profits. So in which case, if you do not make profits, you don't pay anything. And there are those where you have to pay whether or not you make profit, like VAT. So value-added tax is simply saying, I'm selling you this, my mobile phone, for 1,000 naira. Even though I bought it for 2,000, I'm making a loss. But on the 1,000 I'm selling to you, I still have to put VAT of 5%.
So it's the consumer that pays the tax in that case, not the company.
Absolutely. And it's even so bad in Nigeria that not only are so many people doing businesses who are not paying their own taxes, on top of that, they collect government taxes like VAT. When you also pay your suppliers, there's also what we call withholding tax. They deduct it. Now, in those instances, and even bank, in those instances, those guys are just agents collecting the taxes from the consumers and the recipients so they can give to government. They then keep it and spend the money as well.
They just won't remit it.
They don't remit.
You know what I see in all of this? You said something about ease of doing business in the country, and if you look at it, it will seem as if that is not worked on, if that is not challenged, taken up, this projection would amount to nothing. If you say you have so many other people in the informal sector who are trying to make their business a little more formal, perhaps some of them want to get it registered, maybe just have a business name, and it takes almost forever for them to get that name out of the Corporate Affairs Commission, and it takes almost an arm and a leg to get even an account open for that small business name. How else do you think that the government can meet such target if they don't work on the first things first?
I think it's about how we assess, evaluate, reward, and sanction people for what they do and things they fail to do. In the FRS, Chairman was saying that the FRS officers were being paid bonuses once they achieved 60%. I don't know who does that. So I said to them, if you're paying someone a bonus at 60%, that's technically just paying salary. What you should do is introduce another level of bonus. You only pay it at 100% achievement. You have different government agencies doing different things. And what we keep doing every time is we compare what we're doing now with what we used to do in the past, and we celebrate it. Oh, we said before, it was taking us 3 months to register a company. We now do it in 2.5 months, and everybody is happy. Instead of saying, let's look at it, what's the global standard? What is ideal? Where should we be today? This is 2016. We are not in 1814. such that if I should go online and register a company from start to finish in about 2 or 3 hours, then 2.5 months is just not good enough. It is about how we set the KPIs and we monitor them. And when people don't perform, you fire them. There are loads of people who are looking for employment. Nobody should become a government and decide what they want and what is good for Nigeria. And there's a lot of ticking the boxes. So people just set up a website and say, now our ministry has a website. And then you go there and you find a retired head of ministry in 1999 is still the homepage you find today. No other information.
Or especially when they budgeted millions to maintain that website.
God bless you. Millions to maintain websites where they have no information, where it's not working. The Corporate Affairs Commission said, you know what, we're moving everything online. You go there and you want to open, just to get to their homepage, you'll be lucky to get in 30 minutes.
You know, when you say no one is as a government, is it how true is the story of some wealthy or influential Nigerians, individuals who look at the government, especially some in states, they look them in the eye and say, I can't be asked to pay tax or any kind of taxes. Have you ever encountered such in your line of duty?
A lot. Again, now this is to do with leadership at the very highest level. There are a lot of people, because of the way the society will treat them, the way we allow them to live above the laws, they then feel like they're so important and nothing can happen to them. I was with one of these big men before that I don't want to name, and his company had not paid personal income tax in Lagos State. And so the audit was conducted. It was a huge liability. And so while I was there, he called the governor, then it was Fashola. I said, your boys are not allowing me to do my business, da-da-da-da. And the governor said, if it's to do with tax, you deal with the tax authorities, and if you're owing, please settle your liability. And he dropped the phone. If you get the most powerful person in the state, give that message, then you have to go and pay. It used to be that in the past, the next thing is you get a call, and you withdraw the officers from the field. Right? So this guy is not paying any taxes and getting away with it. So then it continues. So it then turns out that the rich people are actually not paying, and the people who are helpless because they only earn a paycheck and it's deducted at source, they have no say as to how much should be deducted, and they want funding government. So that also promotes inequality. And because you have inequality, people don't have any sense of patriotism because they think they're not being fairly treated. And so it leads, one thing leads to another, and then to another, and to another still. We have a disjointed approach into what we do. As you're trying to pull in this direction, you find another ministry is pulling in the other direction. There has to be a way we bring everybody together in a coordinated manner for the interests of our country.
You don't think they should have done that first before going out there to insist on people also paying? Because if people are paying and they see some of these things, wouldn't they be discouraged?
Yeah, I think it's not one before the other. We need to do all of that at the same time. We have a national tax policy, just that nobody is implementing it. And one thing I suggested at the strategy meeting is, let's have a coordinating committee on tax matters, where you're going to have representation from the National Assembly, from the Presidency, Ministry of Finance, from the organized private sector, professional bodies, all the people that have a stake and speak for the people, such that if you want to introduce a new bill, we'll debate it and say, what's the purpose, what's the objective, what's the best way to do it. If you want to grant incentive, we'll say, is this incentive worthwhile? What is the cost and benefit analysis? Those things are missing at the moment.
Did
they
buy
just
the
wake
idea?
up one day, they said it was good. They always say good ideas, but whether they will implement it's a different ball game.
Oh dear, that's always where the challenge is, implementation. Well, thank you very much indeed. Taiwo Idile is the Head of Tax and Regulatory Services at PWC.